The 2010s decade will be over in 4 months. What do you think people will remember this decade for? Social media, a great tool horribly mismanaged. People ask me where I'm going to be in 4 months. I don't have 2020 vision jokes. Looking forward to this thread being unearthed in 2029. Smile, I hope y'all are doing better than us. And GT, my generation is going to be known for wanting to die and memes. Guess we can replace generation for decade. We're the Doomer generation, not the millennials. Or maybe that's Gen Z. IDK, it's all a mess right now. The rise of the smartphone. Everyone has access to the internet and can voice their opinion towards the world at any moment with all the negative effects that it brings. They will remember how great summer 2016 was. Edit, I removed the comma. Edit 2, wow, my first medal of any kind, thanks stranger. The first few weeks of Pokemon Go were magical. The social media explosion. Minecraft's rise, fall, and rise again. The death of brick and mortar and the rise of Amazon Prime. The death of traditional media. Printed newspapers and periodicals, broadcast television and radio are fading. And while digital music way predates the 2010s, it took until this decade for pop stars to stop selling albums. They aren't tallying CD sales anymore, they're counting unique streams. Real headlines trying to outdo The Onion. I don't like this realization. Social media, influencers. Netflix/streaming, it was available before 2010, but didn't get reliable until after. Swipe dating apps. The word online dating and dating sites are now swapped with the phrases dating apps. Obama/Trump. From a video game standpoint, this is the decade of the indie explosion, esports, battle royales and microtransactions. From a cinematic standpoint, this is the age of superheroes. Comic book movies dominated in the last decade and they are not going anywhere anytime soon. I think we'll eventually look back at superhero movies the way that we look back at cowboy movies. From a design/aesthetic standpoint, minimalism/flat design, mostly due to the rise of tablets and browsing the internet on mobile devices. Clean lines, simple colors like black, white and gray. TV commercials, early 2010s ads are backed by upbeat xylophone/triangle/whistling/hand clapping music, or people breakdancing or doing the worm to obnoxious dubstep music. The late 2010s have vivid colors and imagery, vaporwave style aesthetics, and loud over-the-top spokespeople talking fast in the middle of the screen. Think Captain Obvious from the hotels. Commercials or Terry Crews from the Old Spice commercials. Entering a new golden age of automotive design. Almost every new car from the decade is elaborately styled. Car interiors with angular, intricate dashboards, like the Ford Escape, Chevy Equinox or Hyundai Santa Fe. This might end in the 2020s as crash safety technology requires more new cars to look the same, and car interiors will replace dashboards and gauges with touch screens. Thanks, Tesla. A move away from chain restaurants and the rise of food trucks and locally owned restaurants that all feature string lighting, outdoor tables with giant Jenga blocks, Edison bulbs, and a craft beer selection written on a chalkboard. All houses are painted in that greige color and have all white kitchens with that same white subway tile backsplash. There is probably a barn door, shiplad accent wall, and a fiddle leaf fig inside. People are gonna reminisce about how good the 2010s were. They may not seem good now, but just wait to see what the 20s have in store for you. Oh no. The incredible rise of misinformation and irresponsible knee-jerk reaction choices on very serious topics. Depression and memes. But really I think mental health will be one of the biggest problems going forward, and this is going to be known as the times when it emerged as a problem. Didn't see it here so I'll mention it. Syrian civil war and rise and fall of the Islamic State. Shit, the Syrian civil war will still be going next decade, fret not. We've been at war for 18 fucking years. Yeah, some kids who were born after 9/11 can enlist in the army now. Social media, memes, smartphones, Trump. The wild switch from President Obama to President Trump. Say what you want good or bad about either of them, but their ways of doing the job are very different in many ways. Edit, thanks for the gold and silver, whoever you are. Outrage addiction. A YouTuber pointed this out very clearly. He gave the example of the Nike Betsy Ross shoe controversy. Showed how this was a planned incident to increase sales for Nike. Why did Nike come out and basically say sorry, we are recalling all of the Betsy Ross shoes because Colin Kaepernick thinks they might be offensive? Even if true, why not just try and silently recall them or just make up a simple excuse? Why? Because that faux incident will cause outrage, which will drive up sales for Nike by the group of people that need to stand up to injustice and get those bad people that oppose this. On the flip side of this is the other companies cashing in on it as well. They are the ones saying don't put up with this Colin Kaepernick crap. Show him and Nike that you really hate them by buying a Betsy Ross shirt and hat from us. So it sells on both ends and companies are laughing all of the way to the bank. Outrage sells more than ever nowadays. Here is the link of the video I referenced, https://www.youtube.com/watch v equals denatrbswnk and list equals llwujdfatengtcprswx _gargant index equals 12 and t equals 0s. Party rock. 2011 was such a rad time to go to college house parties. The meme renaissance. The horrific turn the Area 51 raid took, resulting in hundreds dead and the unleashing of angry captive aliens upon the world to exact their revenge on humanity. Don't forget the military being defeated by swarms of Naruto runners, leading to new arms limitation treaties banning the use of the Naruto run in any armed conflict. I'm just hoping that the 20s will be the resurgence of gangster suits, black fedoras, and saying things like, I'll punch you into mush, see? And leaning against a street lamp at night flipping a coin in the air with your thumb. The 2010s will probably be remembered for as the remake era for Disney. Wait, last decade wasn't the 90s? Yeah, I lost an entire decade too. The dress was blue. Gangnam Style and Harambe. Dicks out. How are y'all gonna leave out the most influential trend of the 2010s? Fidget spinners. They united us as a nation in a time where our country was divided more than ever. They solved that overnight while boosting our economy to levels unseen since the POG craze of the 90s. Don't ever forget this. Pokemon Go. The clown epidemic of 16. The beginning of automation. A ton of jobs are already automated, but this decade was probably the true beginning, from testing driverless cars and drones to entire service industries being replaced by self-service counters. This will truly be the beginning of automated industries. Shitty Geico and Progressive commercials. Yeah, Geico commercials were way better in the noughties. This decade has been terrible for insurance commercials. The decade where politics turned into a name-calling shitshow where reason is irrelevant. Sports team politics. I think this decade will be remembered for a few big things, at least in the US. Millennials. The name of the game this decade. Millennials were at the center of almost every major cultural conversation. From social media and technology to jobs and the economy. Hipsters and smartphones and gaming systems and trends and Facebook and Instagram, etc., etc. Millennials had the biggest cultural impact of this decade. Obama/Trump. Obama was elected last decade, but most of his term was this decade. He got Bin Laden, passed healthcare, and triggered a whole bunch of people just because he was black. Then Trump really popped up in 2015 for his presidential run. Was it really that long ago? And he's been at the forefront of news ever since. Superhero everything. 20 MCU movies have been released this decade. Then there are the other Spider-Man movies, the DC Universe movies, Nolan's and Snyder's, as well as countless other movies and shows. Last decade was zombies, this decade is superheroes. The 2010s will be remembered as the decade where everyone went from chill to radicalized in a supremely short span of time. Knowing that global warming is going to hit us hard and doing virtually nothing about it globally. The promulgation of the internet. The 2010s saw the popularity of smartphones, which has revolutionized many industries. The internet is way more a force now than it was pre-2010. Network TV isn't a thing because of the internet. Brick and mortar stores are dying because of the internet. I'll just say that this is the best question on AskReddit that I've seen yet. The incest porn. What are you talking about, step bro? Memes and Minecraft. They will remember crazy colored hair, trying to dress like people in the 90s. Those old iPhones that everyone had and thought were so cool but look like bricks now. Vaping, thick eyebrows, overly photoshopped and fancy-tuned photos. Back when YouTube actually allowed relatively normal people to become famous. Duck lips, dabbing. I'll add more later. How stupid it was to get rid of the OJack on phones. I've only been alive 2 decades, so take what I have to say with a grain of salt. But I think this will be remembered as the decade when the physical world was overtaken the online world. Dating is online, buses are online, news is online, and it's about what politicians said online. Presidential campaigns are internet memes. Print media and physical music are disappearing. Our jobs are being taken by AI. The jobs we have left are done on computers. The cloud knows more data about us than we do. You have to have an email to sign up for anything, and apps are constantly trying to wring more digital data out of us. I know this sounds conspiratorial. Personally, I'm not against it. I think we just have to find a balance. Brexit, Trump as president, #MeToo, #Black Lives Matter, Leonardo DiCaprio got an Oscar. I disagree. Brexit will still be going on for another 68 years. Men's styles, patterned short-sleeved button-down shirts, flannel shirts, beards, high and tight haircuts. Women's styles, yoga pants, athleisure, jumpsuits/shrompers, Coachella attire. Don't know how else to describe this, but it's a distinct look. Music, country, mumble hip-hop, bad repetitive pop, EDM and festivals. Tech, automation, social media, data, mobile phones, influencers, social networks, and how everyone thought it was a good idea to keep track of everyone in their life. Kids in 10 years will be like, so you met this guy at the pub and did him into your social network? Didn't that give him access to all your social details? Privacy will become the biggest thing ever, and loose social media connections will become the exact thing not to do. You know, when you watch documentaries now about kids in the 80s hitchhiking or stepping into a serial killer's van because they said they had puppies in there, and you scream at the TV like, what are you doing, you idiot? That's how people will think of our 2010s years. For Europe it will definitely be the refugee crisis. Memes, mass fucking hysteria, and Trump. Politics in the Western world descending into absolute farce. Black president, orange president, and Tide Pods. The decade that normalized eating ass. Our inability to come together and tackle climate change. Hooray. The decade Twitter defined politics. Cannabis legalization movement. As a graduate during the economic recession, it's the only real positive thing I remember in the past decade. And the crazy American cultural swing from Obama to Trump. It's the decade when all governments became a joke.